Hi, everybody. It's Joe Chaffee, and it's our next forecast problem here with regards to late Sunday night, Monday into Monday night, and for Tuesday as well. So we'll just kind of go through the whole thing. This is the mid-afternoon NAM model run, and this is our weather system that's in the southern stream. And I've been kind of contending all along that this was probably going to wind up being the one that was going to cause an issue. Given everything that's been going on with all these weather systems running around, it just seemed to me that if anything was going to happen, it was probably going to be with this one. So let's see how this plays out. And one of the things that we, of course, now, since we've had it happen 3 times in the last 3 weeks, with the blizzard, with the system yesterday, and with the little cheap thrill we had about a week before the blizzard, that everything wants to shift to the west. And by the way, there were other examples of that during the month of December. Not that any of them led to anything major, but that trend actually got established earlier. And what the NAM is doing, when you look at it based on from prior runs, the surface low is a little further south. And I was trying to figure out what the implication of that might be. And it could be that it's just a shade slower, not that it's necessarily of getting ejected out to the east more, but just that it's perhaps a shade slower. At least that's how it is to my eye, and I'm sure many of you might look at this and disagree with me, but you notice how the precip shield here is distorted way to the north and west of where the actual low center is. I mean, there's some precip down here, but the real heavy precip is pushed way to the north, and how the ice bar is kind of stretched out here. So there's probably some kind of weaker low, or maybe the way the occluded front comes out of this, comes out from up here and then extends out into the Atlantic, or a supercharged warm front, one or the other. And I think what's happening is that this is really getting distorted by what's going on upstream here in the Great Lakes, because you have that other deep weather system there that's coming in as a player. Now, what the NAM does is by 4 a.m., much like the last one, it brings in snow from the east, sweeps it in westward, and then you can see how that real heavy precip gets right almost to the coast. And there it is, and this cold air gets drawn down from this high that's up in Quebec. It changes it. There's a band of heavy snow here that lies just offshore on the model back into coastal New Jersey. And then the low center is actually pretty far out, but because everything's getting drawn back, I think by this system, it's kind of getting pulled back in a northwesterly direction. You're seeing that snow to the coast. And notice, by the way, that the back edge of the lighter snows, again, are going to cut off pretty sharply. New Jersey-Pennsylvania border, north of Route 84 perhaps. Much of this is probably very light snow or just snow shower activity. And then the low moves away to the northeast. Now I want to show you, I'm going to go back this up. I want to show you one of the other NAM variations. This is a higher resolution NAM model. It's a 4-kilometer NAM. Okay, it's a tighter grid, so it has more data in it. And what this one does is, there's your surface low, okay, and it takes it almost straight northeast to just south of Nova Scotia. Rather than winding up out here, it winds up over here. So the result is, if you look at the precip field, it gets into that very, very heavy band of precip, gets in right to the coast, over Long Island to about New York City and coastal New Jersey, just about where the border was with the last weather system. And also this low gets very deep, 960 millibars. That's quite deep. And here in this position, it's not that far to the east of 70 degrees west. So, I mean, it is within the realm of possibility here. And then it dives down the system from the Great Lakes, and you have something that's trying to form here off the Virginia coast. But you got to remember, there's only so much room in the atmosphere. If you're going to have one big low like that, there's going to be nothing left for this second system to work on. So let's go to the I'm going to go back. Now I want to go to the RGEM, okay, because that was, to me, I wrote my post this afternoon before I saw the RGEM, and my confidence level when I wrote it was pretty low. But when I looked at the RGEM, I'm getting a little more confident here, because if you see what the RGEM does, it's kind of the same idea. And now, based on the prior RGEM runs, I thought maybe that model was going to keep the precip just barely offshore, but now it wants to sweep it back to the west. and you can start to even see a little bit of darker blue shadings here. So it may be trending in that direction as well. This is something we're going to have to see now over the next couple of runs, because the RGEM range is only 48 hours. So this is the first run that really put the RGEM in a position to show us what kind of precip we were going to have. If we go back, let me just go to the prior run. You can see just the comparison from this is the run 6 hours ago, and for the same time frame now, you can see where it has the precip shield is about 75 or 80 miles further north and west. So that's an important shift. And all of this is happening, again, because of what's happening in the upper layers of the atmosphere. So we're going to take a look at the, first I'm going to go back to the NAM, and we'll go to the upper air, the jet stream flow. And I think what the main difference is for all the models, now here's that Great Lakes system that's coming into play. And it seemed to me that this, on today's run, it's a little bit faster, just a shade, but a little bit faster. And this system is perhaps just a little bit slower. So maybe in terms of the timing, the influence of this one is now a little stronger on this system, and it lifts it up almost northeastward, like a finger that sticks out of it. It's exerting an influence here, and that is drawing the precip back to the coast. This is different, by the way, from the GFS, which has been absolutely the same for the last number of runs. Instead of pulling that system, it acts as a kicker. Okay, this system comes down. Here's the southern system. Here's the northern system. But instead of pulling it up toward it, and the European probably has the similar idea as well, instead of pulling it up toward it, it's kicking it out. And that's why the global models are saying that, no, this is not going to be pulled back to the west. At this point, given what we've seen in with these last three storms, you have to consider that the short-range models are going to do a better job with this until they stop doing a better job. I mean, maybe this will be the one where the global models will wind up being correct and it gets kicked out to sea, and then we have this upper trough that comes through for Tuesday night, Wednesday, which again I don't think would do very much because it wouldn't have very much to work on. You know, until the short-range models fail, I think we have to, at the very least, you have to consider the possibility that we're going to wind up with another snowfall again for late Sunday night and for Monday. So this pretty much kind of summarizes all of this. Just show you a couple of, just for fun, we can show you the snowfall maps for the north, for the GFS, which has nothing, and that's not a surprise. The Canadian model from earlier, which had just a little bit of snow here from this first low, it kind of drew it in, but it had a little bit of snow, to the NAM 12, which has looks like about 3-inch snows across much of New Jersey, and maybe 4, 5, or 6-inch snows for Long Island and parts of southeastern New York and much of Connecticut. And of course, if you really wanted to be bullish on snow, we can go to the 4-kilometer NAM, which has a nice, large area of 6 inches plus that goes to just west of New York City into Monmouth County and all of Long Island. And in fact, it has another stretch of 9, 10, 11-inch amounts for central and eastern Long Island. I'm not predicting this, by the way, just let's be clear. I'm just showing you what the model is doing. And the RGEM, which is coming into the play now for the first time, is showing generally looks like about 3-inch snows for coastal New Jersey and Long Island and Connecticut, and a little bit more maybe for eastern Long Island and southeastern New England. You can see where the orange is out at Cape Cod and so on. So there you have it from the afternoon runs. We will watch the trends. Just want you to know, I mean, my snowfall forecast is up, and I actually went a little less than what the Weather Service has. So they're actually even more bullish, just on, you know, based on what they've seen and what we've seen, the same stuff. They actually went a little more bullish than me. So we're going to just wait for future model trends. If this left trend continues, we'll just adjust accordingly. I think you're pretty well aware of the risks in terms of which way the forecast could go in either direction. Bust potential is high. So we'll just ride it along, and tomorrow's Super Bowl Sunday, and you'll be paying attention to the Super Bowl and to the latest website stuff on the website. So have a good evening.